you ever been a part of a group and thought, oh, where are my people? This isn't the right fit. Or you've had a glimpse into what it's like to be around the ideal people. Well, you're going to want to listen to this episode because I'm going to talk about how your success depends on who you spend time with. And today I'm going to talk about how your success depends on who you spend time with. Now, what made this topic come up? And it seems like a topic I talk about a little bit. And it is because twice this week, three times this week, I have had three conversations with three different people that have talked about a desire or a lack or a miss kind of set of values with people that are around them. So I'm going to talk about that today. And it's especially important at this time of year, right? I just talked in previous podcast episodes about how we're resetting in the fall. And if you're listening at another time, just know that this is important at any time of the year, but it's a really important opportunity right now that we have because we're resetting, we're holding on to what matters, we're keeping the things that are good, we're cutting the things that aren't. And so the next layer that kind of is part of that is your environment and the people that are around you, because no reset that you do and no plan will last very long or have really great impact if the ones around you either aren't supporting it or aren't helpful in getting you to the next level. And I'm not meaning like your family members need to be in the know about your business and need to be able to inspire you and push you forward and be like-minded in that way, because my husband is not that. He works at a 9 to 5. He is a very different mindset. He doesn't want to sit around and talk about my new programs and my new marketing strategies or what the podcast is going to be about. He's supportive, but he's not one to brainstorm with. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the three conversations that got me to this point, and a little bit more about the benefits of this. You might feel like you know them, but there's going to be a few that might be new. I'm guessing they're going to be new to you. So three conversations I had this week, very briefly, without. I like to say that conversations with friends are confidential and with clients and such. And so the first one, another member of my local community who is doing very well. And she said, Diane, where are the other like multiple six figure, like the 500K plus, then a million plus business owners? Where are they? I want to hang out with more of them because the conversations are different. Very true. So that's the first. The second was another mastermind member telling me how she's really grateful that she gets to now mastermind with me and some other people because we get her, right? And we are not kind of putting her down for her success, and we understand the conversations that are to be had when you're a business owner, or in fact when you're a high achieving corporate woman. Same idea, right? These are top level conversations that we can have. And I'm not saying that if you're not these things you can't have top level conversations. They're just different conversations, right? And so she was saying, a lot of her friends at that age, they're talking about potty training their kids and what school they're going to go to and what they're making for their meals. And she's talking about her programs, her offerings, her busy schedule, flying everywhere for work, and they just didn't get it. And then the third was I had lunch with someone and I was talking about the mastermind, and she said, yeah, I don't have a mastermind right now because I haven't found one where the people are at my level. And otherwise she ends up being kind of like the second coach in the group or the second facilitator in the group. So everyone's paying that one person and she's paying them too, but she seems to be like running the show as well because people come to her and lean on her. And I have felt in the conversation with the other two that they felt that way too, that they were often the one in the group, in the mastermind, in the meeting, in the lunch that other people go to and ask them questions. And we all four of us now, all four of us are all about giving back and all about teaching others, especially when we do our own coaching or mentoring of others, or we're in groups where we are with like-minded, peer-based places where sharing information is important. But we also want to be able to be inspired and be led by and be challenged by those around us. And that really is going to be crucial for your success. And so I thought, okay, I've already had three just in the last 7 days, three conversations, less than 7 days about this, that it needs to be a podcast topic. So, the truth about high achievers, you're a high achiever, right? And many women, we pride ourselves in our independence, but listen here. Success doesn't happen in isolation, right? We can't be a silo. We can't do it all ourselves. That's why I have two VAs on my team. That's why I have multiple masterminds that I go to, coaches that I'm involved with, business advisor, and such, right? So really a moment of reflection here is just the maybe a tough question is, who's speaking into your life? Who is speaking into your life? Maybe the different areas of your life as well. And are they fueling you or are they draining you? Are they moving you up or are they moving you down? Are they giving you success or are they kind of instrumental to any failure? So when you're around like-minded people, there's energy that forms, right? There's energy because there's resonance in the conversations. When you're around other ambitious women, other value aligned women who normalize big goals. That's the other thing. I can remember talking about some of the goals that I had had for myself, and people were like, "Oh, don't work too hard," or that sounds crazy. How are you going to do that?" Right? So their insecurities came forward. How are you going to do that? That takes too much time. That would cost a lot of money. You sure you can do that? And we don't want to have other people's insecurities step in to what we're doing. So the other thing is when you start to have the success, right? And you're like, oh, I won this award, or I closed 5 clients, or I launched this program, or I wrote another book. Other people can think of you as being a little bit of a, I don't know, is this a term, a brag hag? This, it just basically like you're too much. You're too much. But the problem is in the right room with the right people, you're actually on the right track. So with the wrong people, you're going to be too much, too successful, too full of yourself. But the thing is, in the right room, you're doing the right things and you're right on track. So when I say like-minded, though, I want to make sure that I'm clear that I'm not saying that they're identical. So it's not a whole room full of coaches. It's not a whole room maybe of real estate agents. It just means that you're like-minded in your drive to succeed, maybe in your shared beliefs, shared values, shared desire for possibility and what's possible in the world, that you maybe hold yourself to a higher expectation. You like to challenge yourself. I know that if I was to require my husband to be doing the things that I'm doing, it would not be a joyful place for him, right? It's great that he has his steady job that he gets to come home and turn off. And that's really helpful for our family because I'm off gallivanting and doing all these things. And so we need one person who is stable and at home while I get to go live my dream. So I'm super grateful for that. But when you are in the wrong crowd, you can feel misunderstood or you can be diminished. These are two of the terrible things that can happen. And I'm going to share a little bit about some of my examples. So, you know, at a mastermind, if I'm in a networking group or a mastermind or something where it's a wrong fit, we are of different levels in ability or in different stages of our journey in business. Maybe someone in the beginning stage is talking about, getting their first website made or how do they get the first sale and how it's expensive to pay for software that's like $25 a month, or they're just trying to figure out the basics of things. They can't hire any help yet, right? They're not far enough along. So the conversations around that are very different than conversations of someone further along in their business or who has maybe not a lot of time in the business but has had the success, right? And then, so for example, I was at this mastermind. I thought they were super high level people. Someone was asking for some suggestions. And I had a whole bunch of things, but I thought I thought it was at a high level that this person was in business for 20, 30 years in an industry that I was newer in, but I was bringing my expertise from from coaching over to speaking, someone said to them, "Oh, well, you should do a lead magnet." And they said, "Oh, what's a lead magnet?" And the thing is, I didn't even suggest a lead magnet because I just assumed that they would have one, two, 10, a dozen, right? And so that conversation then, when the person didn't know what a lead magnet even was, that was a conversation that, yes, was very important for them, but wasn't as important for me. And so when I did show up at a place where there were people who were making multiple seven figures, boy, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear these stretches that really, but what they were sharing was stretching me, inspiring me, challenging me. I was like, boy, I am such a small fish in this pond. Like they are doing such incredible things. And I wanted to do that too. But when I'm in a room where the conversations are where I was years ago, it can do the opposite effect, right? Instead of you being inspired and challenged, it can actually give you a big ego. It can make you feel like you don't have to do more or challenge yourself anymore because you are the big fish in this small pond. And so that can make you pretty apathetic to moving forward and doing more, and it can make you lazy. So if you want to have success, then you need to be in the right group. Another example, and I'm going to move it away from business for a second, was I was part of a soccer team. I was new to the over 30s league. I was just kind of put on a team. I didn't have any connections. Usually in the league, if you're good, you've come from a competitive team and then you go into this more rec league through your connections. But because I had come here from Ontario into BC, I didn't know anyone. And so I just signed up and I got put on the wait list and then they dropped me onto a team. Now, the thing was that they were quite surprised that I could play. I'd been playing competitive soccer my whole life. So joining a rec league of over 30s when a lot of the women were over 40 and I'm 30, I was doing quite well, right? And so I'm on this team. They're not that good. There's not a lot of great players on it, but I was giving my heart and soul. I was doing my best. I was having fun. And the coach from another team, who was also a player, she said to me, "Diane, we would really love to have you on our team." And I was like, "Yeah, but like this is my team, and I'm not going to leave them." And she said, "Yeah, like, but I like don't be offended, but I think you're becoming a worse player." And that was really hard to hear. I was like, "I'm becoming a worse player." She's like, "Yeah, you're becoming a worse player because you're changing your style of soccer. So rather than you kind of coming from defense, actually, I was supposed to be midfield, but I needed to be defense. You're not in your original position, and you're being put in a position that you can't even kind of carry and pass the ball and work it up. You're just hoofing it. You're just kicking it, doing long bombs because you're trying to get rid of it. And that's a messy game. And that's not what a good player does." And I was like, shoot, she's right. I was not surrounded by the right players to be able to do and play the way a good player would play. And so once I did move on to, I subbed for them, I helped them out sometimes. But once I moved over to this other team, I realized, wow, wow, I get to actually be the good player I am and play good soccer. That's the difference. I wasn't playing good soccer on the other team. I was still a good player, was not playing good soccer. And I had to unlearn these bad habits that I had. So when you're in that right mastermind, that right retreat, that right event, that right circle of peers, no matter in what area of life, be it soccer, sports, music, your church, whatever it is, sports related or arts related or anything else, you're going to feel expanded by them. You're going to feel inspired. And the cool thing is, when that happens and you see them doing other things and you're like, "I'm going to do that too," you become more brave. And I just heard that the other day when, when someone is coming up with the previous time I was there, they were telling me about their $100,000 a year coaching program. And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. I need to make $100,000 program." Well, since the last mastermind, they've created $250,000 coaching program. And I was like, wow, wow, like that's wild, wild. And so by hearing that, even if that just pushes me to make a 50K coaching program, brilliant, makes me braver, inspires me, expands me. So, next, I want to highlight the importance of the emotional difference of being in the right group, of shrinking and rising. Shrinking, rising. And this matters so much in September, right? Because I talked about, you get to decide now, what are you keeping in your schedule? What are you cutting from your schedule? What are you creating in your schedule? And if you haven't heard that episode, then we'll make sure it's in the show notes so you can go back or just go listen to the last episode. So we have so many things pulling our time right now. We have kids. If you have kids, you have clients or you have events, you have your own things that you're recommitting to. For me, it's soccer. For me, it's like church stuff. My CAPS, Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, events pick up again, networking groups pick up again. And so without the like-minded women around you, you can be shrinking back into old patterns. So if you're choosing a new and better way, then you better be choosing the right things into your calendar with the right people so that you don't go back into old patterns. So if you were to join a group that makes it okay to be not going for the sale or not working out or whatever it is that you're wanting from yourself and your goals, then you're not going to achieve it, right? And so we don't want to risk shrinking back. Also, if you're in the wrong group, you may find yourself shrinking yourself because you're like, oh, I can't tell them that I got another award or I published another book because they'll feel bad. And I don't want them to feel bad. Or they'll make kind of a nasty comment because, the tall poppy syndrome, when you're starting to kind of poke your head up and become better, people can cut you down. It's the crabs in the bucket idea. As the crab is coming up, trying to get out of the bucket, the other crabs are going to pull it down. And so you don't want to find yourself shrinking yourself, not sharing about your achievements, not sharing about the things that bring you joy and that you're excited about. Like, oh, I've got an interview on such and such a news station or radio show or something, or I just published my book. You don't want to be shrinking, sharing about that and the joy, because you need to be sharing and celebrating your accomplishments in order to grab the motivation from those and use that as momentum moving forward. I have another episode from years and years ago called The Motivation Mountain. You should listen to that. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes as well. So that's the shrinking piece, right? Well, the rising piece. If you're with the right people, they're going to help you to hold your vision longer. They're also probably going to keep you accountable to that, whatever your goal is, whatever you're picking. They're going to help you to either lead yourself with courage or they're going to lead you into a place where you feel more courageous, right? More brave. And at the end of the day, they're going to help you to avoid burnout as well, because you're going to have that support, that resonance. That's the energy, positive energy, helping you to move forward. Where if you're in dissonance and people are trying to shrink you, or you're feeling like you have to shrink yourself, you're going to be in dissonance, which is a lack of energy, which will be a direct place to burnout for sure. So I don't want you to feel like you need a massive network. You don't need a ton of people. What about five? What about five aligned voices? Five aligned people, five aligned in a mastermind group or stuff. That can shift everything for you. In my book and program called Dynamic You, there it is, the 9 pillars to unleash your dynamic woman. In the connection pillar. So if you have the book on page 46 of this version anyway, I talk about, and I'll tell you the chapter. So if you want to go get it, we'll make sure we stick that in as well. Chapter 4 is pillar 3, connected. And so I talk about creating your board, and I'm going to give you just a quick, there's more in the program, but just a quick little tip around this. There's a quote by by Jim Rohn, but a quote by Jim Rohn that says, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, or you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And that was a smack in the face, right? That was a smack in the face. That's why I'm saying 5. And so I talk about in the book, the challenge was to go and create a board, a personal board of 5 people, 5 people who will support you, 5 people who will be in your life, 5 people who will cheer you on to reach your goals, right? That will be really helpful if you had that. That will help you to finish 2025 strong and reach your goals. So, what do you do now? Well, you're basically just going to write down who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Is it family members? Is it friends? Is it the negative neighbor? Who knows? Write down the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I actually had someone that was coming in and cleaning my home and doing some other things, and they were so negative that I had to actually ask them if they were going to continue being negative or if they could switch out of that because I just couldn't have them in my home if they were going to be negative. Because they were in my home quite a bit, like organizing and doing other things. And I said, I can't have you be here. So that was one of my 5 because they were in my home, right? So who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Then ask yourself, do these 5 people reflect the type of person I want to be in the rest of 2025? Do they, like, do I want to be the sum of these 5 people? Do I want to be the sum of each of these 5 people? If not, it's time to choose a new board. It's time to shake up your circle, to put new people in there. This is not like family that you have to be around. They're not blood that you need to have in your life. And even that is a whole nother conversation, but you get to choose these 5 people. You get to choose them. Because if you look at them, here's some tough love here. That's the mirror of your future. That's who you're going to become. Do you want to become those people? Are you inspired by them, motivated by them? I'll leave it there. Well, based on what I've talked about, this is really your people are going to be your success or your downfall. And so that's why, based on these 3 conversations and what I've covered today, I am developing a high level, like minded group of women who are going to inspire and help you to be bolder and braver and reach your goals easier. And so, if you're interested in being part of that, please email me, Diane@DianeRolston.com. I am putting together a wait list for this. So just stay tuned. There's going to be some fun stuff coming your way. So thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. Share this with a friend, especially someone who you would like to be part of your 5. This is a really good segue into having that conversation, to inviting them to be part of your 5 and maybe you being part of their 5. Okay, until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.